Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Directions Mag Geospatial webinar. Today, sponsored by our friends at Esri. I'm Barbara Duke, Editor-in-Chief here at Directions Mag, joined by our webinar producer, Lynette Qualia. Thank you to the geospatial community for being loyal to us for 25 years now. Please continue to read those feature articles, daily news, podcasts, watch more webinars over at directionsmag.com. We are excited to welcome Sean McGinnis with us today. He has a great collection of information and demos on how to improve your productivity. And I'm pretty excited about seeing this tool in action, Sean. So without further ado, we will hand it over to you. Let's learn some more about using Microsoft 365 with ArcGIS.
Great, Barbara. Thank you very much. And I'd like to say thank you to you and to Directions Magazine for the opportunity to present today. My name is Sean McGinnis, and I'm the lead product manager for the ArcGIS for Microsoft 365 product family. And today we'll be talking about that product family and how the individual components have evolved as technology continues to evolve. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my camera here, and let's let the slides tell the story for us. So, as everyone knows, the Microsoft suite of productivity tools has continued to evolve as technology has progressed. In 1998, Microsoft Office started as a collection of installable applications bundled together as a suite of productivity applications. It had a really decent run and was a product family until 2011, when Microsoft announced Office 365. The intent of this release was to bring the productivity suite together with online services like Exchange Server, SharePoint, and Lync, which was the predecessor to Skype. It was taking a hybrid approach, bringing productivity suite together with intelligent web services. Then in 2017, they started rebranding it as Microsoft 365. It's now an enterprise subscription that combines the productivity suite more tightly coupled with intelligent services like Microsoft's Robotic Process Automation as a Service, Power Automate, their cognitive services, and something that's been getting a lot of press recently, ChatGPT and OpenAI. And ArcGIS has gone through a similar transition as well. What started as a collection of productivity tools that were installed on a machine has transitioned to a collection of installable pieces of software, software as a service like ArcGIS Online, as well as platform as a service offerings that can both power an individual and more broadly power the enterprise and external communities. So we realized we had to modernize our approach as well. We had to change the way we were delivering the integrations with Microsoft. In looking at what we had different mapping experiences across the Microsoft products and sometimes complex and fragile configurations. We knew we had to do something different. It had to evolve. So that's why we've taken a new approach with ArcGIS for Microsoft 365 and rewritten all of the integrations over the past 2 years. And as we all know, most of the people in an organization don't have access to ArcGIS systems, software, and data. It's usually just the GIS professionals. But with ArcGIS for Microsoft 365, the components can expand the reach of geospatial professionals using Microsoft applications as ArcGIS clients and get the location information in the hands of others in the organization. It also extends location capabilities to those that know they need them in applications they're familiar and comfortable using. This is enabling them to start building maps and access spatial information. And then finally, it's enabling the business developers with Microsoft's configurable no-code, low-code application and process builders. So now we have the ability to reach more broadly across an organization. And that brought us to building the ArcGIS for Microsoft 365 product family. ArcGIS for Microsoft 365 integrates with Microsoft's intelligence services and productivity suite, allowing users to interact and build spatial data to better understand patterns, relationships, and trends with the apps they already know, trust, and can use. ArcGIS for Microsoft 365 is an innovative product family that provides a consistent mapping experience, delivering those new insights and spatial capabilities to everyone across the organization. If you can use the map inside ArcGIS for Excel, you can use the map inside ArcGIS for Teams or ArcGIS for SharePoint. It's a consistent mapping experience, so they only have to learn it once. And the product family currently consists of 5 components that are in general availability. That's ArcGIS for Excel, ArcGIS for Power BI, ArcGIS for Teams, ArcGIS for SharePoint, and the ArcGIS connectors for Power Automate. Now, if you'll notice, I say connectors. We have 3 connectors to work with Power Automate. We have one connector that works with ArcGIS Online. We have one connector that works with the ArcGIS platform. We have a third connector that's currently in Microsoft's preview environment that will work with ArcGIS Enterprise. Now, the 6th component that you're seeing on the screen right now is one that's currently in a private beta. And we're developing a map component to be used inside Microsoft's Power Apps. And this is going to be ArcGIS for Power Apps. But we'll get more detail on that later. So ArcGIS for Microsoft 365 provides that consistent and innovative mapping experience across an organization's enterprise. Organizations can generate a new understanding by bringing spatial information into spreadsheets. BI reports can show new or unknown patterns with a map that interacts with the other visualizations in that report. By geotagging documents in SharePoint, users can access files more quickly by using a map to discover them instead of searching through a file system. Teams has become the place where collaboration happens. Now users can search and share their ArcGIS items and data while continuing to work within that collaboration interface. And more organizations are looking to automate as a way to scale. The ArcGIS for Power Automate connectors allow them to spatially enable those automations. So let's dive a little deeper into the individual components. The ArcGIS for Excel add-in spatially enables spreadsheets to discover patterns that may not have been previously apparent. Geospatial formulas let people work like they always have within Excel, but including that spatial aspect. Formulas can geocode and geo-enrich information being maintained within the spreadsheet cells. For those who may not be familiar with the spatial tools, the add-in also includes a function builder to assist in writing ArcGIS-driven computations. When working with the Excel data, users have access to analytical tools allowing them to map time-aware data, perform buffer and drive time analysis, and create infographic cards delivering summary information about the features on a map. Additional ArcGIS layers can be added to the map to provide context and further the user's understandings. Finally, publishing the layer or map to ArcGIS unlocks the spreadsheet's data and shares it more broadly across the organization or the ArcGIS community. It gets the data out from the file-based storage that it is and makes it available to more people. The next component we'll talk about is ArcGIS for Power BI. The ArcGIS for Power BI visualization brings an organization's geographic data into BI reports to visualize, analyze, and share location intelligence with accuracy and security. This visualization ships in the box with Power BI. So there's nothing to install to begin displaying and interacting with your organization's ArcGIS Living Atlas or the broader ArcGIS's community data. The map visualization is responsive and interacts with the other elements in the report. Data can be displayed thematically based on values or using smart map themes. And when paired with the ArcGIS connector for Power Automate, organizations can bring their geographic data into the BI reports. The next component we'll talk about is ArcGIS for Teams. ArcGIS for Teams provides capabilities that allow for the consistent collaboration where it matters. Using the app's search functions, users can discover and share 2D and 3D maps, apps, and data from ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. Users can create maps, share content, and manage this data in a centralized location while leveraging ArcGIS apps and maps inside channels, chats, and meetings. The same way I'm sharing my screen to everybody right now, you have the same way of sharing interactive maps or applications with the group that you're meeting with. There are a number of exciting capabilities on the roadmap, including live sharing and a collaboration stage to allow for interactive mapping within a meeting or a chat thread. We're also looking into generative AI functions that allows users to search for information using real words, asking questions, and then create that map, even if they have no experience with GIS. They can ask the questions they're looking to answer, and it will share back the information back to them. The next component we'll talk about is ArcGIS for SharePoint. ArcGIS for SharePoint brings interactive and configurable mapping components into SharePoint as a native web part. This provides a geospatial view of an organization's files and data inside SharePoint's pages and sites. It also enables SharePoint lists to be geocoded and displayed in a map, either by themselves or with other ArcGIS-based layers to provide more context and detail. One of the big strengths of the ArcGIS for SharePoint component is the ability to geotag documents to features. So what this will allow you to do is attach a reference of the document to that spatial feature to allow them to be quickly located and discovered on a map, reducing the time to find important files related to a feature or area. We also have the ability to publish those maps or layers created in ArcGIS for SharePoint. This is a quick and easy way to share data with the organization or your broader ArcGIS community. If the data or maps change, it can easily be republished with the most current information. So we've talked a lot about the core components that are there. So these are the direct add-ins. But there's a lot of ways that we can also extend capabilities and unlock new possibilities by leveraging robotic process automation, specifically Microsoft's Power Automate. But why is this important? And why is this something that you should be considering? Well, right now, there's a surging digital demand. Within the next 5 years, there's going to be approximately 500 million new applications that will be created. And the other is about 50% of digital work that's being done today can be automated with technology that exists. So we're saying that we can reduce our workload in half by leveraging current technologies. So that's a lot of opportunity. But the problem is coming up with the fact that there's not enough developers that are out there. Based on a recent, I'm trying to remember who it was by, I apologize. But currently there's a 1 million developer shortfall, right? So organizations are having trouble hiring and retaining tech talent. More than 85% of organizations are having this trouble, but there's still this demand to create new applications. And these are just some more stats that are showing the current state of our business environments and our digital spaces. 60% of all occupations have 30% of activities that can be automated right now. So there's a need to innovate the way people are working. And as we said, almost half of the work that's being done right now has the potential for being automated. And this can lead to higher productivity. And then because these tools are configurable, these are available in low code and no code platforms, it's a faster time to value. So now there are ways to improve the data collection processes or the applications that we're working in as organizations to get them into people's hands quickly and make sure that we're getting high quality, high value data available to everybody. So one of the main tools that's driving this change is robotic process automation. Now, some of the key tenets around robotic process automation is that it's coming from a low code and no code configurable platform. So this means that it is drag and drop into interfaces. And if it does involve code, they're Excel-like functions. They come with a collection of configurable components that allow you to easily work with many of the existing business systems that are out there, whether your organization is using Dynamics 365, Salesforce, SAP, and a variety of other business systems. They have components that can communicate and interact with those systems. There's also a collection of data connections that work with different common data stores that are out there, whether you're using Oracle, SQL Server, Dataverse, Snowflake, etc. Whatever the systems that you're working in, you have the ability to connect to them with a configurable toolkit. And this configurable toolkit allows you to build business-defined processes. So we jokingly started referencing them as a bunch of Legos, and you get to put the Legos together in any way that you want to. It builds out to your business process. And then finally, these processes execute on a schedule or a trigger. So you can have them execute on whatever temporal basis you need, whether it's hourly, every 3 hours, every day, every week, whatever it might be. Or you can have them execute on a trigger, which means when some event happens within one of your business systems, you can have this workflow kick off and run through this process that you have defined. When thinking of ArcGIS, we have triggers that work with the webhooks off of feature services. So if there's an edit, an update, or delete to a feature service, you can initiate a workflow. Or if there's a new attachment that is created or updated or deleted within a feature service, you can have a workflow that kicks off from there as well. And why this is important is by having these defined processes, it's reducing human error. It is going to execute the same way every time the process runs. And what this means is it's consistent, removing the opportunity for somebody to accidentally mistype something. You've entered street differently than other ways. It's consistent. The second aspect of it is a faster time to value. These are configurable tools. They're not requiring your higher level developers to build. And it's also easier to iterate on them because broader pool of users can go in and interact and work with them. So what we've been working with is Microsoft's Power Automate, which is Microsoft's robotic process automation as a service. So this is one of those intelligent services that Microsoft introduced when they shifted over towards the Microsoft 365 product family. And what it brings is over 900 connectors to these workflows. So in the middle there, you can see the ArcGIS and the ArcGIS paths connectors. Those are two of our three connectors that are there. But there's a number of others that exist. There's the Dynamics 365, if you're working within Adobe, a variety of different applications and business systems, you can bring them in. There are hundreds of triggers that can initiate your workflow. So these triggers could be a manual trigger, which is attaching a flow to a button within an application. Or it could be a new message inside Teams. Or as I said a couple minutes ago, edit, update, or delete to one of the feature services. And there are thousands of actions that you can bring in to build and configure your flow. Within the ArcGIS family, we have tools that allow, we have actions that allow for geocoding, geo-enrichment, data management to include the creation of feature layers, as well as basic data operations against it, creating new records, updating records, deleting records, etc., as well as a number of actions to support the attachment handling. So with that, you can get an attachment from your feature service. You can add a new attachment. There's just a variety of capabilities that exist in there. And then finally, there are pre-built templates to help you get started. The ArcGIS connectors, we have over 19 templates to get you started in using it. And this is a real quick and easy way to see how to configure a flow and begin working with it to allow you to customize it and bring it into your workflows and help support your operations. So let's talk a little bit more about the ArcGIS connectors for Power Automate. So we're viewing this as the no-code, low-code toolkit. It's a configurable SDK against ArcGIS capabilities. It's a collection of those configurable ArcGIS capabilities to include ways to initiate a workflow, as well as ways to add spatial functions into the workflow itself. We have triggers that listen to the feature services, which attach to the webhooks that are there, and those are for initiating workflows on edits, updates, and deletes, as well as the creation of attachments, new attachments being added, attachments being deleted. And as I was talking about the actions that exist within the ArcGIS connectors, there are a number of ways to bring different capabilities. Like I said, the geocoding, geo-enrichment, data management, routing, and attachment handling. And the improved agility and productivity. You don't have to be able to write code in order to get started using these applications. You can drag and drop and configure these tools, putting them together to build out your workflow. In the screenshot that's shown on the right here, this is a workflow that is actually listening for a new message to be posted in Teams. And then what it does is it leverages a cognitive service that extracts key phrases from text, and it's looking for keywords that will enhance search capabilities when interacting with the data. It also goes in and it will pull information outside of or out from a spatial data set to include and enhance even further. So we're really able to tie all of the different workflows from different components as well as web services that are out there to bring together a full cohesive workflow and bring spatial into work without intimidating people with a map or a complex application. They're working in the space where they're currently comfortable. So we've talked about the 5 components that are there now. So let's talk about what's next. The next thing that we're working on, and this is kind of a sneak peek because we're currently in a private beta for this application. So ArcGIS for Power Apps is bringing a map-based control into Microsoft's configurable app builder. So the similar way to Power Automate being a configurable process builder, ArcGIS, or excuse me, Power Apps is Microsoft's low-code app builder. And this can deliver configurable applications to mobile devices, native devices, or the web. The current component that's in the private beta right now allows for the creation and visualization of data in the map, as well as the ability to extract the information from the map and use it to populate other inputs or elements within the application. So again, reducing the data entry aspect and standardizing information and reducing the amount of effort to enter that info in there. The private beta is currently, we're about to open it up. We put out a form to have applicants join us. We've selected that group and we'll be opening up that private beta to that group within the next couple weeks, with the intent of that beta to run until about the user conference, with the goal of having a public beta from user conference until October, when we're expecting to close that beta down, finalize all of our the comments and feedback that we got, with the goal of rolling it out into general availability by the end of this year. So there's a lot of things going on, and here's a little bit more. These are some of the elements of what's next within ArcGIS for Microsoft 365. We're currently working to support 3D across all of the components. So that's going to allow 3D visualization and interaction in every component that we have ArcGIS in. So it will allow for 3D inside Power BI, inside SharePoint, inside Teams, and inside Excel. We're working very closely with the Microsoft teams around their generative AI capabilities, whether that be ChatGPT, OpenAI, or another model, to bring in the beyond just kind of detection and classification, which a lot of the current AI and machine learning models do, but simplify access to information based upon people's questions. Let people ask a question, answer it with the spatial information, allow them to drive their experience. We're also working for an enhanced single sign-on experience. We're recommending that your ArcGIS, as well as your Microsoft components, leverage a SAML-based identity provider, but we're working to make that single sign-on experience much smoother and not prompting people for credentials multiple places. The next point is within the ArcGIS connectors for Power Automate. One of our most asked for requests or set of capabilities is, when is it going to work with ArcGIS Enterprise? Well, we currently have the connector inside Microsoft's preview environment for testing. So that is public and private testing of the enterprise connection. So if you wanted to start using Power Automate against your enterprise instance, you can now do it. If you create a connection to the preview environment, you will see that connector in there and you can get started. We're also enhancing our geocoding. Currently, the geocoder only uses the default geocoder for your ArcGIS Online organization or your ArcGIS Enterprise organization or portal. With the enhanced geocoding, we're going to allow the user to select the geocoder that they want to work with, as well as expand the detail that's coming back. So getting that additional metadata about the geocode. What's the match? What's the match score? And what did it match against, et cetera? Giving additional detail to provide more context to the data. And then we're also working on some specific actions to have increased analysis, spatial analysis, to include buffers and intersects and some other spatial analytical functions. And then the next set of actions is organization management. So group management, user creation, sharing models, etc. So being able to use admin functions within your Power Automate flows. So it takes it beyond just some of the common workflows that people are used to, just kind of the notifications, send an email type workflow, versus actually getting in to support your organization as well. Within Power BI, we have a number of efforts going on around improving the joins in there, improving join capabilities to work with tabular as well as spatial data to have those interactive controls across the full report. We're also looking for better ways to share the reports. This goes back to our enhanced single sign-on experience as well, but allowing for a better experience when embedding the report inside another application or a web page. The final is one of the efforts that the ArcGIS for Excel team is working on right now, is improved cell formatting and service editing. So what this is as people are using Excel, there is a rich set of formatting tools that exist there. So what we're building are tools to carry that formatting over to an ArcGIS service and respect that format in the service's display of the data. So if it's formatted as a currency, we'll use pre-built arcade capabilities to show that record or those attributes as a currency within that map. The other aspect is we're allowing for the editing of services within Excel. So no longer having to build a custom application that would do the editing information that's there, or having to launch a desktop GIS component. They will be able to access a service that they have permission to edit, make the changes within the spreadsheet, and then have it update within that spreadsheet, or excuse me, within that service when they complete the edits. So there's a lot of good things that are going on right now, with the whole goal of bringing mapping capabilities to everyone. So one of the things to just kind of wrap up with is, except for the ArcGIS for Power Apps, which is in a private beta right now, all of these components are available to everybody. There are no additional licensing costs to access any of these capabilities. If you have an ArcGIS identity and you have a Microsoft user, you can bring them together and start to extend the reach of your geospatial professionals. You can add ArcGIS Excel as an add-in for Excel straight from Microsoft's add-in store. Power BI, it ships in the box. The ArcGIS for Teams is one of the apps that can be easily added either by yourself, by going into the App Store if you have access to it, or work with your IT administrator to have them enable it for everybody so that you get the opportunity to share your information with more people across your organization. The next is ArcGIS for SharePoint, again, available as a web part in the store and can be brought right in. And then finally, the ArcGIS connectors for Power Automate, directly available in the connector stores. The one that is in preview, the ArcGIS Enterprise, you'll have to make a connection to the preview environment. But if you're patient and wait a week or two, it will be available in general availability. And then you can bring it in and start using it right away. So I have been talking for a little while here and my voice is getting a little hoarse. So what I'll do now is I'll pause to see if we have any questions.
Absolutely. So folks, keep typing those in. We will work as quickly as possible here to give Sean a chance to catch his breath and ask as many questions as we can in the time that we have remaining. So let's start with, is this product family available with all subscriptions for Microsoft 365 and Esri, or is this an extra cost?
Great question. It is available to all subscriptions, and there is no additional cost to access these components. It's available in all of the app stores, and your user identity in Microsoft, as well as your identity within your ArcGIS configuration, will allow you to bring these together.
Excellent. So do all team users require an ArcGIS Online license?
Another great question. No, all team users do not require an ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise license, but those users will not be able to access the secured information that you might be sharing. So they're coming in as an anonymous user and not part of your ArcGIS sharing model. So if you wanted to share secured information that requires an authorization, they would have to have ArcGIS identity in order to access that information.
Great. So one person is saying, thank you very much. This is great information. And they'd like to know where they can find a list of all the ArcGIS Power Automate work flows. Say they've worked with the Survey 123 connector in Power Automate, but they're interested in finding a list.
All right. What I will do, since I'm sharing my screen, I'm going to pause that for 1 second, and I will grab the URL and I will paste that into the chat here to get everybody started to access the page. So, all right, let me minimize that inside the chat here, and I'm going to
Great, we'll get that shared.
Yep, I'll paste it in here. Barbara, if you could share that, please.
Absolutely. All right, so while I am working on that, let's move on to another question. How are permissions handled when source files are not shared widely? Are there ways to prevent viewers inadvertently sharing maps based on secured information?
So that's a really great question. So we are following the existing sharing models that exist. So if you have rules that are set within your organization that do not allow data to be shared widely, it will respect that ArcGIS Online or your ArcGIS settings so that only certain groups can share information outside of it. There's no way to override the sharing model within Teams. So even though it may be linked within Teams, if the person that clicks on that link does not have access to it, they will not be able to access it.
Okay. Next, what are the requirements to get access to Microsoft 365 for ArcGIS?
Well, the requirements are currently there's two paths to get access to them. The first is if your organization allows you to go to the Microsoft app stores or add-ins, you can add them yourself. They're currently in those different inside the app stores and the add-in managers, and they can be brought in. So if your organization allows you to add apps, you can do it. If your organization is a little bit more secure and does not allow the users to go to the app stores and bring in capabilities, you'll have to work with your Microsoft tenant administrator and have them approve these add-ins, web parts, connectors to the tenant and approve them for use either by a specific group or the whole organization.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the two paths: either bring it in yourself or work with your IT team to get them approved to be used within your organization.
Great. When will the connection to ArcGIS Enterprise go live? It sounded like it was still in preview.
It is still in preview, and that is correct. We're going through our last bits of testing on it. And I'll put myself in front of the bus on it. The main reason it hasn't gone live yet is because I'm at a conference this week. So it will be live and available inside general availability within the next week or two. If you are working within what Microsoft calls their GCC environment, so their government cloud environments, it's usually about 2 to 6 weeks after we approve it for general availability that it gets promoted up into those GCC tenants.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great news. That's not a long wait, Sean.
Nope. But yeah, I'll take one for the team. It's my fault right now that we're behind.
We'll wait one more week, but that's it. All right. How is the integration into Microsoft 365 going to work with the mobile apps such as Survey 123 and Field Maps?
Yeah, so with those mobile apps, the current tight integrations that we have are the ability to bring those applications into Teams. So that's the one tight integration. Where there is more of a integration is when leveraging the connectors in the Survey 123 connectors with the Power Automate, the ArcGIS for Power Automate connectors. That's where the tightest integration is going to be. So we don't have any plans to bring the field maps or the Survey 123 apps natively into any of our components, but we're looking for ways to integrate and continue to work with them. And right now, either placing them within the collaboration space or leveraging them within robotic process automation flows is the best spot that we've found. But we're open for ideas. So please, if you've got ideas or ways that you would like to see them, please share them with us, and we will look into it and have conversations with both of those teams.
Great. Does Esri have a plan to create an extension for ChatGPT? I know this is on a lot of folks' mind, those fancy gadgets that make us feel less smart.
Yep. Yeah. No, we are working very closely with Microsoft's ChatGPT and OpenAI teams right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know within any of the other ArcGIS products, but we are currently building out a common library that can be used by all of our ArcGIS for Microsoft 365 components to leverage the generative AI workflows that ChatGPT and OpenAI can bring. So I'll leave that as a teaser. And if anybody is attending Microsoft Build, which is at the end of May, keep a look there, and we'll start to show off some of the capabilities that we've got.
Okay, so we've got another question here. Are these available in the Office, I think that's what they mean, Office 365 government tenant?
Yes. All of the components are available within the Microsoft GCC low. So the government tenants just kind of the lowest classification of it. We are going through the process of certification with Microsoft to make them available in the higher level government tenants. So that's going to be high, DoD, and secret tenants as well. We're working through that certification process, but as with anything security-based, it takes a little time.
Yeah. And I think this maybe is my favorite because I love learning new things. Are there any trainings available on the Esri training site or how to use ArcGIS with Microsoft 365?
Yes. I'm gonna say yes with an asterisk.
Okay.
So yes, there are trainings that are out there to get started and start using the ArcGIS for Power BI visualization and ArcGIS for Excel. The team is working on building out enablement materials and trainings for the other components as we're moving forward. We currently only have those 2 products that have trainings, but over the next 3 months or so, we're looking to roll out additional training capabilities through the Learn and ArcGIS platforms to help you dive in, roll your sleeves up, and get started with it.
Sean, thank you again for sharing your expertise and the cool things happening in your area. And a shout out to Jaren for her support as well. We hope that you will go make it a great day. Tell a friend about Esri and Directions Magazine. Thanks, everybody.